He stepped inside fast, gun already up, breath sharp, eyes locked, and the girl didn't turn around. She stayed on her knees, scrubbing the floor like the sound of boots meant nothing. The cloth moved in tight circles over a dark stain that had soaked deep into the boards. "Don't touch that." His voice cracked loud in the small room. She didn't flinch. The gun followed her anyway. "I said don't touch it." She dipped the cloth again, wrung it slow, kept cleaning. "This ain't your place." He took another step. "You don't belong here." She spoke without looking back. "Then why was it open?" He froze. The words landed heavier than the gun. He watched her hands. Small. Steady. Not shaking. "Who sent you?" She shrugged. "Nobody." He raised the gun higher. "You lie to me again and you won't walk out." She pressed harder on the stain. "I ain't walking." The cabin smelled like soap and old smoke. He noticed things he hadn't left out. An old badge on the table, face down, edge-worn smooth. A letter burned down the middle, scraped clean like someone tried to erase it with a knife. A name carved into the wall by the door. Not his. "Where'd you get that?" He nodded at the badge. "It was here." "You shouldn't touch things that don't belong to you." They didn't belong to him either. His jaw tightened. "Who?" She finally looked at him. Her eyes were flat, tired, older than her face. "The man who bled here." Silence sat heavy. "You saw him." "I cleaned him." He swallowed. "You're a child." "I know." "Where are your people?" "Gone." "That ain't an answer." She went back to the floor. "It's the only one I got." He lowered the gun just enough to breathe. "You think you can just walk into places and scrub what you don't like?" "I scrub what stays." He stared at the stain. It never had come out before. "You shouldn't be here." "Neither should that." She nodded at the dark mark. "You're trespassing." So was he. He stepped closer. "You don't talk like a kid." "Kids learn fast." He glanced at the door, half expecting someone else. "How long you been hiding?" "Long enough." "Hiding from who?" She paused. "Men." "What men?" She looked at the badge. "The ones who own things." His grip tightened. "Say names." She shook her head. "Not yet." He moved the gun down fully, rested it against his leg. "You hungry?" "Later." "You thirsty?" She nodded once. He set the gun on the table, slow. "Don't move." She didn't answer. He poured water, handed it to her. She drank without looking up. "You bleed." He pointed at her knee. "It's old." "Everything's old to you." She wiped her mouth. "You gonna yell again?" He shook his head. "You gonna shoot me?" "No, you gonna make me leave." He looked at the stain again, then at the name on the wall, then at the letter burned thin. "I don't know." She went back to scrubbing. "Someone's gonna come." "They already did." He stiffened. "Who?" She kept her voice calm. "The ones who don't knock." He felt the cabin close in. He reached for the gun again, then stopped. He watched her hands move over the floor like they were fixing something broken long before she arrived. The cloth slowed. She stood up, small and straight. He met her eyes. He lowered the gun all the way. "Who told you to come here?" She didn't move when he asked. She stood there with the cloth hanging from her fingers, water dripping onto the floor he had never finished fixing. The silence pressed between them. He waited. She waited longer. "Say it plain," he said. "Who told you to come?" She shook her head once. "Nobody tells me." He frowned. "Then why here?" It was empty. It ain't. It was. He looked around the cabin like it might argue for him. You don't just pick places. I do. Why? She crouched again, wiped the floor where the stain had faded to a ghost. Because men don't clean after themselves. He let out a breath through his nose. You been in other places? Yes. How many? Enough. Enough to what? She paused. Know the smell. He felt it settle in his chest. What smell? Fear after. He shifted his weight. After what? She shrugged. After they stopped moving. His jaw tightened. You shouldn't know that. I didn't ask to. He leaned against the table. You hiding out there? Sometimes. Where? Anywhere quiet. This place ain't quiet. It is when they're done. He stared at her. Who's they? She finally said a name, soft like it was nothing. The sheriff's name. The room went still. You don't say that here, he said fast. He said it to my mama first. The words hit him hard. Don't. He did. You don't know what you're saying. I do. She stood, looked at him straight. He said her name. Then his. He felt his throat close. You shouldn't speak on dead things. She ain't dead to me. People hear you talk like that, they'll come. They already did. He rubbed his face. What happened to her? She worked. Where? Houses. Whose? The ones with fences. She fall. She looked at him a long moment. That's what they said. He nodded once, slow. That's what they always say. She watched his face change. You knew. I heard. You believed. He didn't answer. She looked away. She told me not to cry. What? She said crying makes men think you're weak. He swallowed. You a kid. I know. You shouldn't carry this. She told me to. He felt something old rise up, something he'd buried. You ever been caught? Once. By who? A man with a star. He stiffened. He hurt you. He tried. Tried. Mama stopped him. The room felt smaller. Then what? Then she told me to run. You did. I came back. Why? Because blood stays. He walked to the shelf, grabbed a tin cup, filled it. He held it out. She took it, careful. You gonna turn me in? She asked. He watched her drink. The question sat between them. He didn't answer. He stepped out onto the porch slow, like the ground might answer him back. The girl stayed inside. He felt her eyes anyway. Down the dirt road, a truck idled where it didn't belong. Sheriff paint. Sheriff wait. He didn't reach for his gun. He leaned on the post and waited. The truck didn't move. Dust hung low. You gonna stare all day? He called. The door creaked open. The sheriff got out alone. Hat low. Hands open. Didn't think you were home. Didn't think you asked. The sheriff smiled thin. Place still yours. Always was. Heard you had company. You hear a lot. The sheriff glanced past him toward the door. She yours. She ain't property. Everything out here is. Not people. That's where you're wrong. Silence settled. The sheriff shifted. Where'd she come from? Same dirt as you. Funny. You ain't laughing. The sheriff stepped closer. You know what folks say about men who hide things. I don't hide. You shelter. I live. The sheriff's eyes hardened. Girl's trouble. So are you. The sheriff exhaled slow. She's been seen. By who? People who notice. People who watch too much. The sheriff leaned in. This land don't protect you like it used to. Never needed it to. Inside, the girl stood near the table. The letter was in her hands now. She hadn't meant to read it. It was already half gone. Burned words scraped thin. But the name was clear. Her mother's last name. She traced it once with her thumb. Outside, voices stayed sharp. She don't belong with you. She belongs where she stands. You don't get to decide. Neither do you. The sheriff laughed without sound. You always did like pretending you were free. The rancher's jaw set. You always did like reminding folks they weren't. The sheriff glanced at the door again. She say anything? Not to you. She mentioned me. The rancher didn't answer. That was answer enough. Careful, the sheriff said. Words travel. So do lies. And graves. The sheriff stepped back. You think taking her in makes you something better? No, then why do it? The rancher looked past him at the road. Because someone should. The sheriff nodded once. This ends bad. Most things do. The sheriff turned, walked back to his truck. Careful who you shelter. The engine roared. Dust swallowed the road. The rancher stayed still until the sound faded. Inside, the girl folded the letter slow, like it might break if rushed. He closed the door behind him. The lock slid home. The cabin felt smaller. He gonna come back, she said. Yes. With more. Yes. She held up the letter. He knows. He suspects. That's worse. He met her eyes. You shouldn't have read that. It's her name. He nodded. I know. She tucked it into her pocket. They own things, she said. They think they do. Silence filled the space. Outside, the land waited. The door shut behind them and the cabin slipped into low light. He lit the lantern without looking at her. The flame caught slow, like it didn't trust the room. She sat on the chair by the wall, hands folded, waiting. He set the lantern on the table between them. You said you clean places, he said. Why? She watched the flame. Because no one else does. That ain't an answer. It is to me. He leaned back. Say it plain. She nodded once. My mama worked in houses. Cleaning. Cooking. Washing. Listening. Listening. Men talk when they think you're nothing. He felt a tight pull in his chest. Whose houses? She didn't answer right away. The ones with gates. Names. She shook her head. Not yet. They hurt her. They used her. Same thing. She swallowed. They told her to stay quiet. She didn't. Know what happened? The girl looked at the floor. She burned papers. What papers? Letters. Books. Things with names. That don't end well. She knew. He waited. Then what? They said she fell. He closed his eyes a second. From where? The back steps. You saw it. I saw after. Blood. Yes. And you cleaned. She nodded. Because if I didn't, they'd say it never happened. The lantern hissed. He leaned forward. Why come here? Because he died here. Who? The man who came after her. His jaw tightened. You saw him. I heard him. And you stayed. I always stay. That's not safe. Neither is running. Silence settled again. He studied her face, the calm set of it. You ain't scared. I am. Don't look it. Fear gets tired. He let that sit. Why you alone now? They took everything else. Family. Gone. Friends. Never had. He nodded slow. You ask me something. She looked up. Why you live alone? He didn't answer at first. The lantern flickered. Because silence don't lie. She considered that. It still hides things. Only if you let it. She leaned back. Mama said fire remembers. Fire forgets. No, it burns. And what burns stays. He watched her eyes. You hear her still. Every night. She tell you what to do. She tells me what not to forget. Outside, a low blow touched the window. He turned. You see that? She stood, stepped closer. Fire. Where? North. The blow grew. Someone burning fields. Or homes. He felt the old weight settle on his shoulders. You should sleep. I don't sleep much. You should eat. Later. He moved to the door, cracked it. The smell of smoke carried in. This place ain't hidden anymore. It never was. He closed the door again. You stay here tonight. You want me to. I said stay. She nodded. I'll clean the rest tomorrow. He looked at her. Some things shouldn't be cleaned. Some things shouldn't stay. They stood there, flame between them, fire far away, and neither of them moved. The knock came before the sun had fully risen, hard and fast, rattling the cabin door. He moved to the window, peered through the slats, saw the sheriff first, then a deputy behind him. Their boots scuffed the dirt road like they claimed it. He didn't open right away. The girl stepped behind him, small and quiet, but steady. Open up, the sheriff called. We need to talk. About what? He said, voice flat. Her, the sheriff said, nodding toward the girl. She didn't flinch. She ain't lost, the rancher said, stepping into the doorway. She's mine. Mine, the deputy spat, hands on his belt. You ain't the law. I don't need to be. This is trespassing. Protection orders. You know the rules. Rules don't clean blood, the girl said. The sheriff frowned. What did you say? Nothing, the rancher answered, putting a hand on her shoulder. She said nothing. You got papers on her? The deputy asked. The girl lifted the burned letter in her hand like it weighed nothing. Where'd you get that? The sheriff barked. Found, she said. You know what that is, he said. I know enough, the rancher said. Enough to protect her. Protect her from what? From people who think a badge gives them everything. The sheriff's face hardened. That's a lie. No, the girl said. It's truth. The deputy's hand twitched near his gun. The rancher didn't flinch. Step back, he said. Or what? The sheriff asked, voice low. Or she stays here, the rancher said, and you don't like it. Silence held a second, the kind that made boots heavy on the floorboards. The sheriff exhaled slow. Graves get filled fast out here. Then don't dig the wrong ones, the rancher said. The girl shifted, looking at the badge the sheriff had dropped onto the porch in frustration. That's mine, the sheriff said. It ain't, the rancher replied. Nothing you've got matters here. The deputy gritted his teeth. You're asking for trouble. Trouble's already here, the girl said, calm. I see it. You see too much, the sheriff snapped. She sees what no one else will, the rancher said. She ain't a child to be hidden or forgotten, the deputy said. She's evidence, the sheriff said. Evidence of what? The rancher asked. Of truth, she said. Of blood. Of names. The sheriff ran a hand down his face. You're making this worse. I'm making it right, the rancher said. The deputy cursed low. The girl's eyes held steady, unflinching. She stays, the rancher said again. You take one step further, the sheriff said, and it's on you. Then don't step, the rancher said. The wind shifted outside, moving dust across the porch. Boots scraped the boards as the sheriff and deputy stepped back. Graves get filled fast, the sheriff repeated, more to himself this time. The rancher closed the door behind them slowly, bolting it. The girl set the burned letter on the table, hands lingering over it. You gonna burn that, he said. Not yet, she said. It's memory. Memory can be fire, he said. She looked at him. And some things deserve to burn. He nodded once. Outside, the morning sun climbed, washing over the land, but it felt smaller somehow, watched, heavy with all that had come and all that was yet to arrive. Inside, the cabin held them, two figures standing silent, but neither afraid, both claiming a piece of truth that no badge could take away. She led him past the cabin, across the yard where grass grew tall and wild, bending under the wind. The quiet stretched like it had weight. He noticed how her hands didn't shake, how her eyes were steady, even as the wind whispered through the empty boards of the shed. This way, she said, voice low. He followed. The well came into view, half hidden behind the shed, framed by rotting wood and weeds. Stones dark with age surrounded it. They put her there, he said, throat tight. They said she fell, she replied, brushing a hand along the edge of the well like touching memory itself. He crouched, peered down. Darkness swallowed the bottom. Moist air rose, smelling of dirt and something older. Other falls, he muttered. She didn't ask. He didn't explain. It sits on land they once owned, he said finally. Before the governor's men came through. Do you think she waited? Maybe. Did they hear her? Not until it was too late. Silence held. He ran a hand along the rough stones, tracing the cracks. This place remembers, he said. So do I, she said, small voice carrying weight. Every night? Every night. And the smell. Blood, dirt, smoke, she said. They never stop. He let that sit. Some things can't be cleaned. I try, she said. Her hands, small and strong, touched the stone edges as though learning their shape, their history. Why bring me here? He asked. So you see, she said. See what? The weight of what stays. He felt the land press closer, older than it should be, filled with silence and memory. She knelt beside him, fingers tracing the frame. Mama said wells keep secrets. They don't lie. Some things never leave, he said. I know, she said. Ever hear voices? Always, she said. Some threaten. Some remember. He bent closer, listening. Nothing moved. Only wind threading through the weeds, bending the frame. Why do you keep coming back? He asked. Because someone has to, she said flatly. Someone has to look. Look for what? Truth. He swallowed. Truth isn't safe. Neither is running, she said. He leaned against the stones. You feel it? Memory, she said. Not sound. Not words. Just wait. He closed his eyes for a moment, remembering old falls, old screams swallowed by dust and weeds. Do you hear it? She asked again. I do, he said. Deep, not loud. It calls anyway. They stayed silent, side by side, over darkness that had swallowed life and cruelty alike. Wind moved through the weeds. Footsteps of time pressed on them. He thought of the people buried here, the names forgotten, the lies that clung like smoke. She traced the stone again, cautious, delicate, like touching a fragile truth. We go back? He asked. Yes, she said. Lock the cabin, he instructed. Make sure the night stays out." She nodded. Together, they walked back through grass bending under their feet, footprints fading quickly, but leaving memory behind. The cabin door closed, the lock clicked, holding them inside. She pressed the burned letter to her chest, silent. He studied her, noticing how two lives intersected here, over truth, over fear, over land that remembered. The wind shifted, carrying voices from far away, or maybe just shadows of memory. "Do you think they'll find her?" he asked. "Maybe," she said. "But it won't matter." He nodded, understanding the weight of her words. Some things stay buried. Some things demand to be seen. She leaned against the wall, quiet, still watching the well. He glanced at her, then the yard, then the shed behind them. Dust hung low in the air, settling on everything, heavy and still. Outside, the land waited, patient and watching, holding memory and truth together. And inside, the cabin felt smaller, heavier, full of the weight of things neither of them could forget. The well sat behind the house, dark, a keeper of stories, calling even without sound, waiting for those who could see. They lingered a moment longer, hands brushing the stones again, as if testing what remained and what had already left. Then they turned. Step by step, they walked back, leaving the well behind but carrying its weight with them, silent, steady, unbroken. Back in the cabin, the air felt heavier, thick with stories neither had fully spoken yet. She sat by the table, the burned letter folded in her hands. The rancher leaned against the doorway, eyes fixed on her. "You ready to tell me?" he asked, voice low. "I've been ready," she said. "For what?" "For everything." She looked down at the letter, traced the edges with a thumb. "Mama told me to remember names." "Names of who?" "Everyone. Who hurt? Who lied? Who hid?" He crossed his arms. "You carrying that now?" "I have to." "You're just a child." "I'm not running." He studied her, slow. "Not running doesn't mean you're strong. Mama said strength is remembering." He rubbed his jaw. "And if it breaks you?" "Then it teaches me," she said. The cabin was quiet for a long moment. The lantern flickered, casting shadows on walls lined with old marks and scratches, traces of stories past. "You said she warned you," he said finally. "Yes. Don't forget. Don't bend. Don't clean what isn't yours. And you followed her." "I do what she said. Even if it hurts." She nodded. "Even if it bleeds." The rancher felt a tightness in his chest. "I've seen blood," he said. "I've buried men in it. Seen it stain floors. Seen it follow me." "Then you understand," she said softly. "Some things aren't cleanable." He looked at her small hands clutching the letter. "You're not afraid of it." "I am," she admitted. "But fear doesn't get to decide." He breathed slow. "You learn it young." "Mama made sure," she said. "I learned to carry what others leave behind." "Burden," he said. "Duty," she corrected. "Duty is heavy." "Yes." He stared at the ceiling, thinking of names, of faces, of bones buried under dust. "And some people want to forget." "They try," she said. "But memory doesn't go away. Not if you hold it right." He nodded once. "You collect it all." "I clean nothing for them," she said. "Only what deserves to stay seen." "And the rest?" he asked. "Burn it," she said, looking down at the letter. "After I remember." "You gonna burn that one?" "Not yet," she said. "I need to know every word first." Silence filled the cabin again. He watched her, saw a mix of resolve and exhaustion in her face. "You're not running from anything now." "I'm standing," she said. "And you're with me." "I don't fully know why," he admitted. "But I am." They sat together for a while, letting shadows stretch long across the floor. "Does anyone else know?" he asked. "No," she said. "Good," he muttered. "Let it stay that way for now." The lantern flared slightly, smoke curling up to the ceiling. "You ever think about leaving?" he asked. "No," she said. "This is where I have to be. Where I learn to be." He swallowed. "And you'll keep learning?" "Yes." "Mama said carry it right. Don't let it crush you. Don't let it bend you. Remember names. Remember faces. Remember who mattered." He leaned back, letting the words settle. "And if someone comes?" he asked. "I'll be ready," she said. "Like she taught me." The rancher glanced at the letter again, burned edges, faded ink. "You're not just surviving. I'm keeping score," she said, firm. "And someday, it'll be more than me." He nodded slowly. Outside, the wind shifted. Inside, the cabin was heavy with memory, truth, and small courage that had already grown stronger than fear. She set the letter on the table, stared at it, and for the first time in a long while, she exhaled. He watched her, knowing the weight she carried would never leave, but also knowing she had chosen it, and in that choice, she had become more than anyone thought she could be. Shadows moved on the walls, firelight flickered, and the cabin held them both, a quiet testament to lessons learned, burdens carried, and truth never surrendered. The morning air was thick, heavy with the promise of confrontation. Tires crunched the dirt road long before the trucks appeared. First came the sheriff, hat low, eyes narrow. Then a county official, gray-suited and stiff. And finally, a man from the governor's office, tie tight, hands gloved. The rancher leaned against the cabin doorway, the girl by his side, standing straight, small but unyielding. "Open up," the sheriff barked, voice sharp as a whip. "Or we come in." The rancher didn't move. "We can do this easy or hard," the county man said. "I don't do easy," the rancher said. The sheriff's eyes flicked to the girl. "She stays?" "She stays," the rancher said, flat. "You don't get to decide." "She's evidence," the man from the governor said. "Evidence of what?" the rancher asked. "Of things best left buried," the official replied. "You ain't leaving," the girl said. "Not until the truth comes out." The sheriff glared at her. "You a child." "I've seen more than most men," she said, steady. The sheriff laughed low. "And now you stand here daring us." "I'm not daring," she said. "I'm watching." The county man shifted. "You're reckless." "I'm careful," the rancher said. "Careful keeps people alive. Reckless keeps them talking." "Talk won't help you," the sheriff said. "I've been talking long enough," the rancher said. "And listening." The girl picked up the burned letter from the table, held it between them. "This belongs to the truth," she said. "Not to you." The man from the governor stepped closer. "Hand it over." "It's not yours," she said. "It's mine now." "You don't understand," the sheriff said. "We understand," the rancher said, stepping forward. "We understand enough." Silence hung, heavy, broken only by the scrape of boots on dirt and the wind shifting. "You think you can protect her," the sheriff said. "I know I can," the rancher said. "She ain't running." "And she won't leave," the girl said. The county official frowned, glanced at the governor's man. "We can do this by law," the man said. "Law won't clean blood," the rancher said. "Nor will it honor memory." "Step back," the sheriff said. "Or things get messy." "Step back," the rancher said, mirroring him. "Or truths get buried again." The girl watched both sides, silent but unblinking. "You think you're safe here," the sheriff said. "Not safe," the rancher replied. "Protected enough." "And if we come back?" "Then we wait," the girl said. "And remember." The sheriff's jaw tightened. "You're making this hard." "I already live hard," the rancher said. "You live in fear," the sheriff said. "I live in choice," the rancher said. The county man moved his hands, ready to reach for a gun. The rancher didn't flinch. "Careful," the girl said. "Graves get filled," the sheriff muttered again. And bones too, the rancher said. The tension stretched long, each second measured like a gunshot away from disaster. Then slowly, the men shifted back. Guns lowered, gloved hands relaxed, voices quieter. Dust hung in the road like a witness. The rancher watched them go, the trucks kicking up dirt as they left. The girl set the burned letter down on the table, picked it up again, tracing the scorched edges. "You think they'll come back?" he asked. "Maybe," she said. "But they won't take it." "Good," he muttered. He stepped outside, locked the cabin again, listening to the tires fade. The air seemed lighter, but the weight of eyes still lingered. "You stayed," he said, turning to her. "I did," she said. "You ever scared?" "I'm careful," she said. He nodded. "Some things demand it." "Yes," she said, quiet, folding the letter and placing it carefully back on the table. "And some things demand more." He studied her small hands and steady eyes. "You're not just standing," he said. "You're claiming what others ignore." "I remember," she said. "And I act." The wind swept through the cabin, carrying the memory of men who had come and gone. Outside, the land waited, silent, heavy with truth. Inside, the cabin held them both, two figures standing still, strong enough to face those who knock, patient enough to hold what must be kept. They lingered there, listening to nothing and everything, waiting for the next step without moving, steady, unbroken, together. The dirt smelled of rain and old bones. The rancher knelt, fingers scraping the surface, loosening soil that had lain heavy for years. The girl crouched beside him, small hands steady, brushing away the top layer as if revealing memory itself. "Careful," he said. "Some things can't be fixed once they're disturbed." She looked up. "I know." The wind whispered through the trees, carrying leaves like ghosts across the yard. "You see anything?" he asked. "Not yet," she said, voice quiet. "Look closer." She leaned in, tracing shapes in the soil. Jewelry, tiny fragments, scorched letters buried too deep. "They buried evidence," he muttered. "And they thought no one would find it." "We'll make them here," she said. "How?" he asked. "By not hiding," she said. Her fingers dug carefully, revealing a small badge, tarnished but intact. "This was his," she said. "The one who threatened her mama." He nodded. "And now it belongs to the truth." The girl moved on, uncovering a small box, charred edges, nails rusted. "Bones?" he asked softly. "Yes," she said. "Part of them. Enough to remember names." He swallowed. "You ready for that?" "I've been ready," she said. "Some of them I'll never forget." He nodded. "You have to be careful. Some names are dangerous." "I'm careful," she said. "I watch. I remember. I clean nothing for them." The sun shifted, shadows stretching long over the land. "What happens now?" he asked. "Now we leave proof," she said. "So no one can deny it." He dug deeper, hands turning over earth that had held silence for too long. "They gonna listen?" "They gonna hear," she said. He paused, feeling the weight of her certainty. "And if they don't?" "Then we make them," she said. Quiet descended, heavy but controlled. Together, they worked, uncovering fragments of truth, jewelry, letters, bones, marks in the dirt. Each piece told a story. Each piece demanded recognition. "Names," he whispered. Each one remembered. "Exactly," she said. "That's why I clean. That's why I carry it." The dirt felt alive beneath their fingers, heavy with grief, fear, courage. "You think the sheriff will understand?" he asked. "He'll see it eventually," she said. "But maybe not today." "And that's enough?" "For now," she said, nodding. "Enough to start." He looked at her, small but unyielding. "You've changed," he said. "I've always known how," she replied. "It just took time for someone to watch." A crow cawed in the distance. "You still afraid?" he asked. "Afraid keeps me alive," she said. He let that settle. The soil shifted again, revealing more tiny bones, fragments of cloth, the edge of another burned letter. They'll remember now, she said. They have to. He brushed his hands together, dirt falling. You carry a lot. I do, she said. And I'm not done. They worked until the shadows grew long, fingers stained, arms aching. Each discovery brought a sense of quiet justice. The wind picked up, stirring the dirt, lifting small dust motes into the sunlight. You think anyone else would do this? He asked. Most would run, she said. I don't. Good, he said. Neither would I. They leaned back, looking at the marks in the dirt, the small signs of memory, truth, and courage. Sirens wailed faintly in the distance, coming closer. That's them, she said. Time to let them see. He stood, brushing dust from his pants. Names in the dirt, he said. Never forgotten. Never, she said. Together, they stepped back, letting the earth speak for itself, quiet, certain, heavy with the weight of all they had uncovered. The authorities arrived slow, careful, carrying the weight of uniforms and papers. They moved over the yard with respect, but not fear. The sheriff avoided the rancher's eyes, hands tucked in pockets. The girl stood by the cabin, small and steady, watching. We need to remove remains, one officer said. Yes, the rancher said. Do it right. Bones, letters, fragments of memory, they were lifted carefully, placed in crates and bags. The girl followed every move, silent, observing. The sheriff said nothing, only watched from the edge of the yard. The wind shifted, carrying dust across the porch. You okay? The rancher asked the girl. She nodded. I'm ready. Ready for what? To let them go, she said. The letters, burned edges softened in her hands, were stacked, kept safe. You still gonna clean? He asked. She looked at him. Only what deserves it, she said. The rancher studied the cabin, the porch, the small yard. Doors fixed, windows shuttered, each nail in place. Some things stay, he said. Some things leave, she replied. Crates were loaded into trucks. Bones wrapped, letters sealed, evidence kept. The officers moved carefully, aware of the girl's presence, the rancher's stance. We'll document everything, the sheriff said, finally speaking. And it'll be noted. It already is, the rancher said. Some things don't need papers to be remembered. Outside, the trucks drove away, dust trailing like smoke. Silence fell, but not empty. The land held weight. The girl picked up a broom, swept the floor where dust lingered. Still cleaning, he said. Some things need it, she said. The rancher nodded. He repaired the cabin door, checked the lock twice. You're sure it's secure? She asked. As secure as it can be, he said. She sat at the table, hands folded over the burned letter. It's quiet now, she said. For now, he replied. Quiet isn't forever, she said. I know, he said. But it's enough. The sun touched the windows, light spilling on the floorboards, catching dust in golden streams. Shadows of yesterday moved across the walls, long and lean. You feel it? She asked. The change. I do, he said. Not clean, not perfect, but it's ours. Ours? Yes. What we keep. And what we let go. We remember it. That's enough. She nodded. Mama said that too. Did she? He asked. Yes. Remember, act, protect. Don't forget. Don't bend. And you? I do it every day, she said. Every day, he repeated. Silence fell again. Outside, a hawk circled, sharp eyes searching. Inside, the cabin was calm, holding its own stories now. Tomorrow, he said. We do what tomorrow needs. I'll be ready, she said. Always, he said. He walked to the door, touched the wood, listened to the creak. This is ours. What we keep is ours. Nothing can take that. She looked out the window, watching horizon lines, thinking of bones, letters, fire, and dust. "I'm ready," she said again. He watched her, proud, careful, knowing she had learned weight and courage beyond her years. Outside, the wind carried sound from the distance, faint sirens, voices, life moving. Inside, the cabin held them, two figures quiet, resolute, strong. "You still gonna sweep?" he asked. "Only what deserves it," she said, smiling faintly. Dust floated in sunbeams, letters folded, memory intact, silence earned. They sat together, cabin still, land waiting, truth held close, unbroken, unyielding. The door closed. The lock clicked. They were home. Shifted. Inside, the cabin was heavy with memory, truth, and small courage that had already grown stronger than fear. She set the letter on the table, stared at it, and for the first time in a long while, she exhaled. He watched her, knowing the weight she carried would never leave, but also knowing she had chosen it, and in that choice, she had become more than anyone thought she could be. Shadows moved on the walls, firelight flickered, and the cabin held them both, a quiet testament to lessons learned, burdens carried, and truth never surrendered. The morning air was thick, heavy with the promise of confrontation. Tires crunched the dirt road long before the trucks appeared. First came the sheriff, hat low, eyes narrow. Then a county official, gray-suited and stiff. And finally, a man from the governor's office, tie tight, hands gloved. The rancher leaned against the cabin doorway, the girl by his side, standing straight, small but unyielding. "Open up," the sheriff barked, voice sharp as a whip. "Or we come in." The rancher didn't move. "We can do this easy or hard," the county man said. "I don't do easy," the rancher said. The sheriff's eyes flicked to the girl. "She stays?" "She stays," the rancher said, flat. "You don't get to decide." "She's evidence," the man from the governor said. "Evidence of what?" the rancher asked. "Of things best left buried," the official replied. "You ain't leaving," the girl said. "Not until the truth comes out." The sheriff glared at her. "You a child?" "I've seen more than most men," she said, steady. The sheriff laughed low. "And now you stand here daring us." "I'm not daring," she said. "I'm watching." The county man shifted. "You're reckless." "I'm careful," the rancher said. "Careful keeps people alive. Reckless keeps them talking." "Talk won't help you," the sheriff said. "I've been talking long enough," the rancher said. "And listening." The girl picked up the burned letter from the table, held it between them. "This belongs to the truth," she said. "Not to you." The man from the governor stepped closer. "Hand it over." "It's not yours," she said. "It's mine now." "You don't understand," the sheriff said. "We understand," the rancher said, stepping forward. "We understand enough." Silence hung, heavy, broken only by the scrape of boots on dirt and the wind shifting. "You think you can protect her," the sheriff said. "I know I can," the rancher said. "She ain't running." "And she won't leave," the girl said. The county official frowned, glanced at the governor's man. "We can do this by law," the man said. "Law won't clean blood," the rancher said. "Nor will it honor memory." "Step back," the sheriff said. "Or things get messy." "Step back," the rancher said, mirroring him. "Or truths get buried again." The girl watched both sides, silent but unblinking. "You think you're safe here," the sheriff said. "Not safe," the rancher replied. "Protected enough." "And if we come back?" "Then we wait," the girl said. "And remember." The sheriff's jaw tightened. "You're making this hard." "I already live hard," the rancher said. "You live in fear," the sheriff said. "I live in choice," the rancher said. The county man moved his hands, ready to reach for a gun. The rancher didn't flinch. "Careful," the girl said. "Graves get filled," the sheriff muttered again. "And bones too," the rancher said. The tension stretched long, each second measured like a gunshot away from disaster. Then slowly, the men shifted back. Guns lowered, gloved hands relaxed, voices quieter. Dust hung in the road like a witness. The rancher watched them go, the trucks kicking up dirt as they left. The girl set the burned letter down on the table, picked it up again, tracing the scorched edges. "You think they'll come back?" he asked. "Maybe," she said. "But they won't take it." "Good," he muttered. He stepped outside, locked the cabin again, listening to the tires fade. The air seemed lighter, but the weight of ice still lingered. "You stayed," he said, turning to her. "I did," she said. "You ever scared?" "I'm careful," she said. He nodded. "Some things demand it." "Yes," she said, quiet, folding the letter and placing it carefully back on the table. "And some things demand more." He studied her small hands and steady eyes. "You're not just standing," he said.